Hello, scientist Mr. Miller again. We've been talking about photosynthesis, and we said photosynthesis occurs in all plant life. And you can be a single cell, or you can be a multicellular plant like a bush or a tree or a flower or your lawn, any plant, or you can even be photosynthetic algae floating in the ocean, single celled. They all photosynthesize, which means they take sunlight in the presence of chlorophyll and the chloroplast, which is a structure inside of every leaf, every cell in the plant cell. Um, we combine carbon dioxide and water to make glucose and oxygen. Now, we've talked about stomata, how the leaf has gas exchange. But what I want you to think about right now is what happens if I take this reaction, which is going in this direction, we followed the arrow. What would happen if I want to run it reverse? That means I want to take the sugar, the glucose, and I want to add oxygen to it. If I run it in reverse, what do you think is going to happen? Well, the last video said that if I take oxygen and sugar through a process we call cellular respiration, we burn the sugar, and what do we produce? Well, we produce CO2 and water. So we can run this backwards. So what does that look like? Well, here I have a comparison of photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is right here at the top. It happens in all plants. It's storing energy from the sun into a molecule with lots of energy. And then all living cells, all living things, the cells inside all living things, um, they take sugar as a chemical form of stored energy. They add oxygen. That's the reason why we as humans have to breathe in oxygen. And when we respire, we exchange CO2. And we call that a gas exchange. In plants exchange oxygen, so they breathe out, if you will, oxygen, and they take in CO2. What a perfect recycling way to get rid of CO2 in the atmosphere. Plants run it and make it back into oxygen and water. So besides just releasing CO2 and water from this reaction, so I take this chemically rich compound, I tear it apart, I release lots of energy here. And that energy can be used by a cell, whether it's an animal or plant cell or a single celled bacteria. It can use that to either grab more water to create different things like proteins or whatever the cell needs to do. It can repair itself. It can make more of itself. That means it can reproduce. Whatever the cell needs to do, it needs to have energy. So now, if we think this is a cycle, it's constantly being recycled back and forth. And if you think about it, plants are living things, so they need to burn energy in their cells. So they have cellular respiration. In humans, we don't have photosynthesis, but we do have cellular respiration. And because we can't photosynthesize, that means we have to eat the plants or animals that have eaten the plants and stored the energy in their bodies. And then our digestive system is designed to go and take that energy compounds out so that our cells can break it down through cellular respiration and produce carbon dioxide and water. So we have this tremendous recycling program. Without photosynthesis, there would be no life on our planet. That's how important it is, because every cell needs oxygen, every cell needs energy, and how the cell gets that energy determines if it's a plant or an animal cell.